Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I love what you pointed out to me. We're going to talk about this today, and it really does relate to all of us in terms of what we do for our profession. And if you take the word learn, drop the L, it's earn. You got to learn before you earn. Makes so much sense. We're going to look at that in terms of what she does as an interior designer and how it translates to even you if you're thinking about making some changes, remodeling, renovating, all of that. She is Kristiann Colasacco. She's back with us. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, duh, how did I never even think of learn and earn part of that whole thing there? Yeah, really does make sense.
It's my mantra. It really is. I don't know where I heard it. I heard it probably years ago and it just stuck with me. And it was first you learn and then you drop the L. And I say this to all my colleagues and my friends when they're kind of feeling a little defeated in their work life. And I'm like, look, everything's a learning curve, everything. And you before you can really start monetizing in whatever you do or like monetizing, on a project or whatever, you have to learn first.
In my journey, I truly believe that we're here to learn and teach, learn and teach. And that includes stuff that the universe throws to us. Like you say, oh man, I can't believe that happened. Why am I going through that? Why do I get to deal with that? Because there was a lesson to be learned. And there are some that feel that if you don't learn the lesson, the universe is going to drop it in your lap again. And then it's going to happen again, different shape and form, kind of the same lesson there until you figure it out, because you're only supposed to go in this one path, the best path, according to the universe. And a lot of us don't listen to that. And we're going over to here. Let me go turn over here. I don't want to do that. I'll go over here. But that is most likely what supports you the best.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? So the other day on Easter, actually, a mentor of mine he speaks so proficient and he's brilliant. He actually said, he asked everyone, what is your algorithm of life? And I've been like talking about this all week. So anyone who follows my social media is probably sick of hearing me talk about this, but it's so true because I never thought of anything like that. So all of these lessons and learning curves is basically like your whole life is one big algorithm. So what are you focusing on that is kind of happening on repeat? Is it the same lesson over and over again? Is it the same styles? Like whatever. So whatever you're comfortable with, you're going to attract kind of thing. Or like whatever you're focusing on, you're going to attract into your life, whether good or bad. And that's up to you to figure out and make the changes that you need to get where you want to go, get that outcome that you want.
100%. And that goes back to manifestation, where what you think shall become. And you might not even know you're doing it, or you may be sending out signals and you're attracting certain things that don't support you. And that goes right down to partners, even romantically. How many people say, I don't know. Can I meet a nice guy? Can I meet a nice woman? Like, why the same ones keep showing up? What the hell is going on? Like, I'm a good person. Why is this happening? But then when you look at it and you start dissecting it a little bit, then it's like, all right. But you really got to do some soul searching to figure that out. I did.
Yeah, I think we all did. We're all still doing it, I think.
100%. 100%. I don't know what it is, but I attract women with anxiety. I'll get personal here. I don't know what it is. Like, why? Like, am I the therapist? Like, why? And then I thought about it and I was like, my mom had a lot of anxiety. I never really thought of it until I thought of it. And maybe I'm there, the nurturer, and that's why it shows up for me. It's okay, but that's the common thing. A lot of people have anxiety, but I'm talking about amped up.
Right. Like you really are, you're like everybody's kind of Band-Aid in a sense, right? Like you're trying to make it better for everyone. That's me too.
Really?
Yeah. Same. And
I don't want to be a fixer.
I'm not. I don't want to fix anyone.
Maybe at one point it was, I feel bad. Let me give you, let me help you along with that. But now it's like, no, the therapy shop is closed. That's not my thing. I guess it's the empathy too, that you project it. And I truly believe it comes to you. So we must be putting that out there. We're transmitting it energetically, like we're like little antennas, like throwing it out there. And that's what shows up. And same thing, professional relationships, you might wonder, why did that fall through? Why didn't that work out? Why is that working that way? It's probably because of what we're putting out there. We're getting it back to us.
Yeah, and I do believe in like seasons of people too. So people that you encounter, maybe it's like a work relationship or collaboration and things are going really great and you've gotten to another level, activated you didn't think you could get to, just by, collaborating with somebody. And then you kind of go separate ways and unintentionally nothing bad happened. It's a season, right? It's a season of change and a season of growth and growing and learning. And that's 100% why I stand so firmly on like, first you learn and then you earn, and you learn from, and you continue to learn. It's the people who are so closed-minded that don't want to keep learning because they think they know it all and they've figured it all out, that there is a ceiling for that person, that type of person, of their success rate. And that bleeds into business. So, me as a designer, I have to stay humble. I have to stay learning constantly. I'm never going to know it all ever. Like there are times when I can almost consider myself like an electrician or a plumber, or like, because I'm learning things. I'm like, oh, I could totally do this, but I know realistically I cannot. Like legally I cannot. But when you learn
but it
these
supports
things,
what you do though. It's like a
right.
deeper, a more fortified foundation for what you do as a designer, knowing how electrical works. Like back in the day, I do marketing as well. I would do websites. I would actually do them. Now I don't. I have 2 developers that do them, but I know what goes on. I know what's under the hood. I know what we can do, maybe what we can't do. So I have an idea. It's not just like, I don't know, hey, go make a website. No, I'm thinking, and same thing with your designing, and somebody's looking for lighting here or a certain type of automation lighting, whatever. The more you know what's possible just by learning. And isn't it, you ever notice this, that once you get in the rhythm of learning, you just want to keep learning more. Like it's
Yeah.
cool. Like it's fun. It's not a job. It's like just when you pick up something, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's how that's done. Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And what's actually terrifying right now for everyone in the world is AI. With what they're doing is taking away people's urge to learn,
Mm,
um, because they're becoming, I feel personally, and so you can disagree, but I feel people are going to eventually rely solely on AI to do a lot of tasks and a lot of things like marketing. For example, I see every day that I'm on Instagram or social media that AI can like pump out all your marketing. And they have these ads that are saying AI made me $10,000 this week by generated ads. And I'm like, no way. I'm sorry. I just think that's ridiculous.
yeah, it's not perfected. It's far from it in many, especially using AI to write things. And a lot of people I work with, like, yeah, try this out, check it out. When you write something, it makes it easier. I'm going to admit, and I'm a geek, I played with it for a day or two, and I'm like, no, I want to write it. I want to physically, because what I find in terms of AI, especially in that application, is it just adds so many fluffy words to a copy. All right, so you might find a word or two that you didn't think of, maybe a little bit of a direction, but you still have to do it anyway. It's just not perfected. I will say this in terms of Google advertising, and all right, now I'm jumping down the rabbit hole here, but pay per
I love
click,
it.
pay per click when you're searching for something. When Google is so much smarter than you think, that if you Google something, it's not you just Googling. Google already knows your intent. It's already figured you out way before based on what you're searching, third-party data, all of that stuff. So I'll have clients say to me, they'll say, "Hey, you know what? I Googled my business and it didn't show up number one." I said, "That's because your intent was to test it, and it knows that you're testing it. You're not a female who is 47 looking for cosmetic surgeries. So it knows."
How does it know? That's what I want. Like, how?
Searches, third-party data, things that you've done in the past. It's tracking you. It knows what's going on. It won't it
Wow.
won't even put ads that don't support what you're looking for as number one, number two, number three. It won't do that because it knows that that's not your true intent. It's already got you figured out. It's light years ahead of whatever we think. And back in the day, we wanted to make you number one if you're a client. Number two, two's not bad because you spend less and you're still visible. But now it's a whole different game. And that is AI. And that's, to me, that's kind of cool. But it's everything, for the most part, like you're talking about, it's not totally perfected yet. There's a lot to go.
It is opening up creativity doors though, too,
Sure.
I will say, like in the
Sure.
artistic industry. So I will find when I'm looking for inspirational photos on jobs that I'm working on or jobs that I'm about to start diving into, like pretty deep in design, I have found some really cool looking stuff that's generated by AI and it looks so real.
I know, right?
That it's scary and you can't find it. And I've tried searching and sourcing some of these things I'm finding and I'm like, I can't find it anywhere. And then I find out it's AI and I'm like, well, there goes that. And the problem is some of it is so intricately detailed that we don't have people. It's a dying breed now. We don't have these craftsmen, people that can really do this stuff by hand anymore. There's maybe a few out there, a handful, but there's not enough to keep up with the market. So the clients, they find these photos, they send them to me, they send to my colleagues. And they're like, I want this. Great. So do I, but I don't have anybody who could make that because that is computer generated.
Wow. I will say in terms of images, you're right. It's like we take our faces and put us on anybody, any any place in the world, and it looks real. Like there's even videos out there, if you looking at different reels and on Snap or TikTok of car accidents. And it's like, oh my God, like that's real. I'm like, I could tell the smoke's not real. That's my telltale. That's like that smoke doesn't look real. But yeah, you're right. The images are pretty impressive, even at this stage. Yeah.
I mean, it does also help people that are coming out with like new stuff, like product lines, like me for my product line, my furniture line. Like it's inspirational for me. I'm like, if AI can achieve that, I can find a way to make that happen too on my end.
So for you, in terms of being a designer, how did the learn happen for you that led to the earn? Like how did that all begin for you?
Well, early on in the industry, I originally started with furnishing and decor. I opened up the West Elm in Westport design studio. I was one of the first people they hired fresh out of college. I was their top leading sales. I made it to the President's Club. I was doing really well, but I wasn't like so in love with what I was doing at that point. It was that moment that I didn't know I want to be more so into construction, which is what I grew up in. So I'm like, I want to knock down some walls. I want to do tile layouts and cool inlays and really like do more than just fluffy decor, which is great. And that's a whole thing on its own. So what I would do is my first ever, I opened up my corporation and I did it with like zero knowledge. My dad gave me his lawyer. We did it. The first job I ever took on, I charged the client only $300, which is like, as a designer, that's nothing. But to me, it was everything. It was like the most money I ever asked for in a job in my whole life at that point. And so for me, it was a huge win. And I was like, this is great. I'm going to redo this person's like whole apartment and furnish it. And then after that, I was like, okay, now I got that confidence. Now I can get to the next level. And then from there, I really learned a lot from that because I did make some mistakes and I had to kind of figure it out. But I did have to take on a couple of jobs for free just to prove myself, prove that I can do it, prove my capability, and kind of barter a little bit to get to the next level. And I think a lot of people do that, I think, but if they don't, that would be my advice to anybody entering any kind of industry, is be open to the fact that you might have to take a loss just to get yourself some true grit and experience.
100%. Even, you look at people who intern in different industries, I know people that even want to get into radio and would work on a promotional crew of a radio station and not get paid a lot at all. That's not what they want to do, but now they have the foot in the door. They have maybe the opportunity to help out somebody who's on the air and eventually get on the air if that's what their goal is. And I totally right there with you. I left a job after a lot of years. It was my first real second job, but my first one was only like 6 months, but it was the big job. I got lucky, started at 17. I left that job and it was a mutual departure. It just wasn't feeling right anymore. And now what am I going to do? I like being creative. I like helping people. Let me go down the marketing road. And one of the salesmen at the radio group that I was with had a marketing agency and he took me on. He's like, "Oh, I'll make you a partner." I really wasn't a partner. It
You're
was,
a partner.
yeah, a partner. He was using my name because I had a name in the area to sell marketing. And the partnership percentage for me started going lower. And I was like, well, okay, I can't do that. So I took another job, a radio job. And then he got mad that I wasn't focusing on him. I'm like, listen, I got a kid coming. I can't do that. And he got angry. And I saw a side of him I never saw before. He blew up, exploded, and that was the end of it. But what happened?
That was your season.
That was my season. You're right. When I think about my seasons and I've got them identified, that one, no, because it was a while back. And thank you for that. I learned along the way. And then I opened up my own marketing company, competed against him, and was basically doing the same thing he was until I jumped off the rock and got back into the water and figured it all out. So yeah, I wasn't making a lot, not earning a lot, but I was learning a lot. So I guess it was the learn plus a little bit of the earn until I finally got it.
You earned kind of like afterwards, but that's usually how it is. You got to crawl before you walk, right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's, we all want to jump in fast and move and start swimming but you can't. You have to, these are the steps that need to take place and things are going to pop up along the way. Relationships may go sour. I think that's all part of the learn, that's part of the learning experience.
It really is. I didn't get to do an internship when I was in school because when I lived out in LA, I had to work full time and go to school full time. There was literally no room left for an internship. So I didn't have the time to do that. And that is one of my biggest regrets. But that was also like a decision I had to make because I couldn't have achieved the learning experience at that college that I would have achieved here in New York. I went far away. I packed up my Honda Civic and I shipped it out to Los Angeles and I left everything behind in New York just to pursue my dream. And my parents were so mad at me. They were like terrified, but I survived off of $50 a week. Parking was $3 an hour on the street if I did go to my job. So I was really like living on the dollar menu at Taco Bell and KFC and McDonald's and all that just to go to college and figure out how I'm going to make this a career. And I had to do a lot of stuff for free to get to that point because I didn't do an internship and I didn't have that mentor. I didn't have that experience. I just really had to figure this out on my own.
It's empowering, isn't it?
It is. It was painful back then, but looking back on it now, you're like, wow, I did that.
But even now, when you make changes or a course direction or you try different things, like I went on a retreat 3 weeks ago. I just signed up for it. Clear across the country. Never would do anything like that. And I'm like, the hell, let's go. I traveling with people. I don't even know who these people are. It was a men's group, and it was about learning about relationships and things like that. Um, it was so worth it. And the men that I met, we're all friends, and some of them half my age, and it's great. Like we all connect. We all like we were just messaging before. Hey, there's a comedy show, coming up. You want to bring your girlfriend? Blah blah blah. It. I would never have done that 5 years ago. It's just not me. Like I'm a planner. I think it all out. I just sight unseen. Let's go. I don't know. And my friends were saying, Steve, you're signed up for a cult. Did I? I don't think I did, but whatever. It wasn't.
I don't think so. No, I think it's
Yeah.
great. I think you have to take those risks.
Yeah.
And you can't, I feel like that's a calculated risk in a way. Like, it's not like you were just like, all right, I'm just gonna whatever, up and go. Like you had
Right.
to,
Right.
you did have to make travel plans. So I
Yeah.
call that a calculated risk.
Truth be told, in the back of my head, if this is like weird, I'm out of there. And I kept telling myself, even though I committed, there's expense, but whatever. I kept telling myself, I'm out of here. I will just get on a plane and get out. There's no problem. So I had, had a parachute on. That was all good. But just taking those steps, those, just whatever it may be, getting out of your comfort zone, even if it's learning something new within what you do. I mean, I'm sure you have things on your radar that you're thinking about that maybe you might want to learn. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have jobs coming up that have some things involved that I've never touched before in design, and I'm scared about it, but I'll figure it out. I always do. And I have good contacts, and I do have people in the industry that are all proficient in all different things. So now I have a really good community that I can kind of reach out to, which is great. And that's part of the learning and earning experience of life too. Like you really want to keep broadening your horizons with the people that you interact with. So when I'm sourcing, I go on a yearly trip every year. This year, I just got back from Morocco and Paris, and we did a big sourcing trip throughout all of Morocco. There were like 20 of us. Some were designers, some were sourcers, some were just random people that are like interested in design and furnishings. No, nobody knew each other. I mean, maybe like some of us from a previous trip, but we all like kind of had strengths and weaknesses, and we would kind of help each other out, and we've stayed in touch since. And now you expand and you're broaden your horizons of your network, and that's what life's about. No
Yep.
matter what you do, me as a designer, like I'm constantly networking with real estate agents, with people, like networking with you, like people could be helpful to me, and people I know could be helpful to you. You just never know who
As
you're
soon as you
encountering.
just said that, I was already thinking it. And I got a guy, Chris, very successful real estate. When we're both happen to be in the New York area, real estate guy on Long Island that I'm going to connect you with. And he is the guy that suggested I go on this retreat because it changed his life and it made him uber successful. Not even kidding. So as about to say real estate, I'm like, Chris, he would be perfect. And he's just an
Same
amazing guy.
vibration.
Same, absolutely. And you said something before, which was really impactful that I'm not really sure how to do it, but I'm confident I can nail it. This new thing that, in design, because you gain the confidence, I got this. And I'm a believer in if you can see it, like if I can see a marketing project, a website, a video, shooting a video, I've already played it in my head. I've already seen it. It's already played.
Yep.
I know it's done. We got this. And I wonder, do you do that from a design standpoint? Do you already see what you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I consider that to be my superpower in design. I have a really strong vision, and if I can see it for me personally, and then I have to figure out how to portray and project that to my client, because not everyone's visual. Some people
Yeah.
really just genuinely they can't do it, and it's not their fault. They just can't do it. So it's my job to project that onto you so you know what my vision is, and you can be as excited about it as I am.
Yeah. we're thinking the same way here. It's super cool. We're out of time. It's just like I look up and it's like we're actually a little overtime, but whatever. For you, KN, if somebody wants to start the conversation, and I know that you can do stuff anywhere around the country because thanks to anything virtual where
Yeah.
somebody can show you what they have. what it looks like, and you guys can work back and forth. How do they find you?
They can reach out to me on social media. My Instagram is ChristianityC or Kaos Creations and Design, or my website is Kaos Creations and Design. I'm basically everywhere. And you just type in K-and creation, spelled with a K, and design, and you'll find me.
And your Paris pics are fun and just cool. I already look.
Thanks.
I don't miss
I have so
anything.
many more that aren't even out there yet.
Yeah, I'll bet. But the ones you have, it's like, wow, they look authentic. They're just you being there, and just the scenery in the background. It's like, gotta go.
Yeah, it's all very inspiring.
Yeah, and that too. Thank you very much for today. Learn and earn. Don't forget that. Super important. And we'll catch up next time. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks. All right. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.